Episode 9 opens with a colder and darker feeling than earlier episodes. The streets feel empty, the buildings feel lifeless, and almost every conversation sounds dangerous. Even when characters speak softly, it feels like someone is always listening nearby. That is what makes this episode so tense. Nobody feels safe anymore. The fear inside Gilead has now reached the people who once believed they controlled everything. Earlier in the season, the commanders acted like they still had complete power. They believed the rules would keep everyone loyal. But episode 9 proves that fear can only control people for so long. Once people stop believing in the system, the entire structure begins to shake from the inside. One of the smartest things about this episode is how it uses silence. Many scenes pause for a few seconds longer than expected. Characters stare at each other without speaking. Small reactions suddenly become important. A nervous look, a shaking hand, a delayed answer. These tiny details tell us more than the actual dialogue. The episode wants the audience to feel uncomfortable. It wants us to feel the pressure that these characters are carrying every single day. Even inside large rooms filled with powerful people, nobody truly looks confident anymore. The commanders especially seem more divided than ever before. Some want tighter control, while others clearly fear that stronger punishments may create even more rebellion. This internal conflict becomes very important because it shows that Gilead's leadership is no longer united. And once leaders begin turning against each other, collapse usually follows soon after. The system depends on complete obedience, but obedience is slowly disappearing. You can see it in the way guards hesitate. You can see it in the way servants avoid eye contact. You can even see it in the way people walk through the streets faster than before, as if everyone wants to disappear before trouble finds them. Another powerful detail in episode 9 is the lighting. Many scenes are covered in shadows, even during daytime moments. Faces are often only half visible. This visual style represents the hidden truth inside Gilead. Nobody is showing their real thoughts anymore. Every person is hiding something. Every person is wearing a mask. And that creates an atmosphere where betrayal can happen at any second. The darkness inside the episode is not only physical darkness, it represents emotional darkness too. Hope is fading, trust is fading, and patience is fading. At the same time, the resistance movement feels stronger than ever. Earlier episodes showed rebellion in small, hidden moments, but episode 9 gives the feeling that something much bigger is now growing beneath the surface. Information is spreading. Secret plans are moving quietly between people. Characters who once looked powerless are now starting to take emotional control of their own futures. That is what truly scares Gilead. Not violence, not protests, hope. Because once people believe change is possible, fear stops working the same way. The episode also does an excellent job showing emotional exhaustion. Many characters look tired, emotionally broken, and mentally trapped. Even the people still loyal to Gilead seem drained by constant pressure. This is important because it reminds us that cruel systems eventually destroy the people inside them too. Nobody escapes the damage completely. Episode 9 keeps repeating this idea again and again through visual storytelling. The cold rooms, the quiet halls, the empty expressions, all of it creates the feeling of a society slowly dying from the inside. One scene becomes especially important because it quietly reveals how weak the leadership has become. A commander tries to sound strong during a serious conversation, but the people around him no longer react with fear or respect. Instead, there is hesitation, doubt, silence. That moment may seem small, but it changes everything. Power only survives when people believe in it. And in episode 9, belief is disappearing very quickly. What makes this episode so effective is that it never rushes the tension. Instead of using non-stop action, it slowly builds emotional pressure scene by scene. Every moment feels heavy. Every conversation feels dangerous. The audience begins waiting for something terrible to happen, and that constant feeling creates powerful suspense. The episode understands that fear becomes stronger when characters do not know what comes next. By the end of this section, episode 9 makes one thing very clear. Gilead is no longer standing on solid ground. The system still exists, the leaders still give orders, and the rules still remain in place. But underneath all of that, panic has already started spreading. The people at the top are losing control. The people at the bottom are losing fear. And when those two things happen at the same time, collapse becomes almost impossible to stop.